Hi, welcome to the Two Tunes podcast, where we make mistakes. I'm Bo.
I'm Brandon.
And we make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's not really a mistake. It's just like that new interface thing. It's like, and plus we're using it for class, so everything's changing every time. So I have to like go in and like set things. And apparently I don't do this beforehand. I don't do a sound check. I'm just doing it live.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
Did I send you the TikTok of the doing it live thing? Somebody like
No, but I
played along to it.
No. Oh, maybe.
Yeah, somebody like, you know, the ones
the
where
drums
people
or piano,
stitch or whatever, duet.
Oh, okay.
Where they see, to me, stitch would be like what a duet is. Like, I get why it's duet because you're doing it at the same time.
What's a stitch?
Stitch is the one where you like you post your thing after their thing.
Oh, okay.
That's a stitch.
So like, yeah,
which
so
also makes sense.
You were adding on to their. So like they show a little bit of it,
duet,
and then they're like, "What's up?"
That's a stitch, yeah.
That's a stitch, and a duet is when
at the same time
because it's supposed to be
because you're duetting.
Yes,
doing it at the same time, which makes sense also. But stitch also to me makes sense as being a thing. We're too old to be on TikTok.
But you're stitching onto their.
It is funny.
post.
I mean, this makes sense when you actually think about it. That what I'm about to say is that there's so many people on these apps from all over the place and whatever, and it does make sense. Like, I get that my algorithm is based, like, I get a lot of music content and cat and Star Wars content from my friends that we send each other things, and like, but there's also like other things that are just like random that I get that then become like part of my thing because I like them and I watch them and whatever, and then I'll go to like reference something to like other friends or like my students or whatever. And they're like, we don't even know a clue what that is. And I'm like, no, but it's like all over the place. And they're like, yeah, but like we have no idea what that is. And it's all
over the place in your world.
Yes, correct. But even if you go to like certain things, you're like, oh my God, this sound has been used millions of times.
And you think everyone used it.
Yeah. And then like, it's there's a subgroup of folks. And like, I just sort of forget that. Because like the internet makes the world smaller, but also not at the same time.
Yes.
So that's all.
Yeah. TikTok's, we could spend a whole... No, we couldn't. I don't know. Like maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah. Hey, somebody asked a question.
Yes, it was a great question.
Yeah, and I had...
it was Larry the cable guy.
Larry the hot dogs guy. I was glad I remembered it. Can you turn me up a little bit? I'm sorry.
Like just headphones.
Yes.
Is that better?
What am I looking at? Oh, sorry.
Turn it up real loud.
Anyway, Larry Hot Dogs asked, what are some of your favorite songs that start as the previous one ends?
We should do that as an episode.
Well, here's the thing.
Well, you have the answer.
No. I'm not going to say what my answer. I have a song that I've been wanting to play for a while that does that. It's technically two songs, like it's two tracks on the album,
and they flow in,
but they are meant to be essentially like long intro song. So I will play one in a couple weeks as an example, but I have another example of a group that we recently talked about, the Dude My Dude, the Tired Vibe song. So their EP that has Tired Vibes on it has that. The first track is like 50 seconds long, and is its own thing, sort of. It's very short, but it really acts as lead-in into the second track, and it's a really good example of that. It's one I like. There are also, like, as soon as I read that prompt, I was like, oh, that's a thing I love. Like, in general, I like that. But now I can't think of any off the top of my head. And part of that is because, like, I just haven't been listening to albums.
Yeah.
Especially not, like, older ones. Like, I'll go back to, like, certain tracks, or, like, I have playlists and different things. So, like, a lot of those are escaping me to think of specific. But that was one that I've been listening to that EP a lot over the last couple of weeks. So... Okay. There's a good example.
We should do that as an episode.
Yeah, well, I've got the perfect
So,
one.
Larry the hot dog guy.
Do we know who that is?
I probably should, but I don't.
Okay, because I don't.
Yeah.
So, Larry, if you want to identify yourself,
do that.
Or don't. I don't know. It's fine.
In the Discord.
Speaking of Discord, speaking of also how old we are, so
by the way, Larry joined Discord in 2017.
Oh. And is now being active. Oh, Discord in general.
Discord in general. I was like, not our...
As soon as I said that, I was like, wait, we haven't been doing the podcast that long.
They joined ours in February.
Okay. So My fraternity, which we are in the same fraternity, but the Mansfield chapter.
Yes.
They sent an invite in this like alumni group the other day. They're like, "Hey, you guys should join the Discord that we have. We use it a ton for communication stuff and blah blah blah. But you can join and you can get news on like what's happening or whatever." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I joined it, and it's bizarre to me that this is a thing that they use, the way that they use it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm used to using it. Well, I'm used to using it for the podcast, obviously.
Yeah.
But other things like that, like a couple bands I follow and a couple things, and it's more like, I don't know, they're just using it all the time.
So there's always notifications.
Yeah. It's basically they use it like a channeled group chat, which I guess makes sense in some ways. Because then you can stick certain things over here. They have a thing about quotes, just like funny things that people say. So there's like a channel there, and then there's like a thing over here. Is it channels? Is that the word I'm looking for? Now that I'm really sounding old.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Channel? Okay. But so they have one for that, and they have one for like memes, and they have one for whatever, like, which does kind of make sense because then it doesn't clog up the group chat.
Like if somebody's trying to
so like
have a conversation about comics,
like a lot in it. Yeah,
and
so like if they're
posting memes,
so like for them,
related.
if they're like, hey, we got this concert coming up, here's the thread for that. Let's talk about that here, and then we'll stick the other stuff in the other places. So it does actually kind of make sense.
Mm-hmm.
It just was a thing that I was like, I don't know. It was a little bit like, I don't know what the word is. Just like I felt a little old, I guess.
Oh yeah, we're not using it right at all.
No, yeah.
I'm in too many.
Because they also asked, they were like, "Hey, can everybody change their username to their fraternity nickname?" Did you guys have nicknames when you went through? Or was that just like?
I think it was a you thing.
Okay, I mean, I'm sure other chapters. I know. I know
there are
chapters
nicknames, but it wasn't like you're gonna have a nickname.
Oh
and
no,
this is
you
it.
have an official. We have an official.
Yeah, no.
nickname.
I mean, technically, everyone except myself maybe had a nickname.
Okay. No, it's like a thing at our chapter.
I mean, sometimes it was just their last name because they had a funny last name.
Well, sure. But anyway, so they were like, "Hey, can you change it to your nickname?" And mine already is because my fraternity nickname is just my handle, like everywhere.
Yeah.
But the one guy responded. He was like, "So if I change it to that, I also use Discord for like my DMA that I'm working on with my advisor. So they're like, no, you can do it just in this profile, like you're good. But it just was funny. I was like, yes, us olds over here trying to. But I also thought that was interesting that guy's using it for his DMA work and stuff too.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just cool, just different ways you can use stuff and. Utilize it and stuff. And I know, like, I've used Slack before, very briefly, and it's a similar kind of thing too.
Yeah.
Just like different conversation threads and stuff. So the youths are actually using the technology for good. I'll give them that. It makes me think of like the few group chats that I have with like different things, like with my AP friends or with like marching band or different stuff. I'm like, man, this would be so much better in a lot of ways if we went to Slack or Discord instead of a text thread that just gets clogged with whatever.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
I joined a Facebook group that apparently doesn't really exist because they decided to use Canvas.
Oh, okay.
For my new master's class.
Okay.
Master's degree. I got accepted.
Yeah.
Southern Utah University. Go T-Birds.
Is that what they are?
They're Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds? Nice.
Yeah. Which I'm just like, I don't know. I'm kind of weirded out by it. I don't know.
By the Thunderbirds thing or just
No, like the whole process.
Yeah.
Because it's so far away and it's one of those universities that like puts a ton into advertising. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how real it is. I don't know. It's weird. It's freaky.
Okay.
Anyways.
So what do we do here, Bo?
We talk about 2 tunes.
Yeah, who's first?
You're always first. Not really.
Always first.
Well,
we've been doing 2 in a row.
Yeah. You have been
so.
first. I think we screwed this up technically. Because I think I was first the first time, which would be odd numbers. And then at some point we messed up, or I messed up. Uh-huh. And now we're starting with you.
Yeah, you're always the keeper of the order.
Yeah.
So,
years ago.
What?
I said years ago.
Like when we started?
Yeah.
Okay. So my group this week is a group that has been around for 75 years.
Those are some old dudes.
I was having this conversation. So it's the group called the Four Freshmen. Were you aware of them at all before?
Not at all.
Okay. So the Four Freshmen started in 1948 when these four guys were freshmen at Butler University.
They were merely freshmen.
Yes. And which, by the way, is speaking of college and that song, that's a very popular college a cappella tune because my college a cappella group did a version of that song.
Yeah.
Anyway, so these guys were freshmen at Butler University, and they were, I believe, like instrumental majors. They were musicians and stuff, and they wanted to like have a singing group, and they're kind of inspired by barbershop, but also inspired by like big band writing and stuff, and that's kind of where their sound kind of came from. It's because they were arranging their vocals the way you would arrange horns.
Okay.
Which means you have your melody line, and then you just pick the cool notes of the chord to kind of go underneath and fairly close to that note, as opposed to like, well, we're going to do root, third, fifth, seventh. And it's like, no, there's probably no roots because the ninth is cooler.
Yeah.
You probably want the third and the seventh, but then wherever the melody gets, that adjusts things as well. So maybe the melody's on the third, and then you put the ninth here, so there's like a little rub, or the flat nine or something. There's all these different things, but it's basically you're arranging it more very close harmony the way you would a saxophone.
Where did you learn that?
Trombone. Where did I learn what?
Where did you learn what you just told me?
About them doing it, or about
that in general? What you just said. How did you learn that?
In jazz school.
Okay. So you went to jazz school.
I went to jazz school.
Okay.
I have a degree in everything.
In everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this school is going to come up again in my telling of information about the Four Freshmen.
I want to learn.
Okay. I can teach you some basics of jazz.
No, I got another, like, hey, I just started this master's program in music technology.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now maybe the next one might be like jazz arranging. Or just, I don't know.
Okay.
It'll be something.
Well, I can teach you some basics if you want.
Yeah. But I want to take credit.
I'll charge you.
Are you an accredited college?
I'll charge you an exorbitant. Yes. I was going to make a joke, but I don't want to make a joke.
I will charge you $1,000 per credit.
$1 million.
Oh, wait, that's Penn State.
Yeah. Anyway, so, but that's kind of what they did. That was their style. And then the group has been continuous all of that time. Obviously, it's not the same original members because they would be very old.
They would be in their 90s.
I mean, theoretically, they could all still be alive and whatever, but basically, as people, sometimes like one person leaves and another person comes in. So I think they're in their like 20, I don't know the exact numbers. Let's say like 25th iteration of the group, because it technically becomes like a new group every time there's somebody new,
oh my
joining.
God, look how old they are.
Yeah. And so like some of the guys were in it for a while, and then there's been some people, like if you looked at like some sort of like timeline of like who's been in the group and stuff, there'd be some where it's like a year, and then somewhere it's like 20 years and 30 years and whatever. So they've been going for a long time. What are you looking up there?
Their Wikipedia page.
Okay.
Oh my God. Bob Flanagan. He has been in it the longest.
Yes. He is one of the founders.
Yes.
How long was he in the group?
Until the 90s.
Uh-huh.
And then they're like, dude, you're too old. But he was out a little bit, like in 1990, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, they are in where are you? Go down. The 27th.
There we go. I was right. I that's what I was telling my students the other day, is that they were in the 27th group, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, Bob Flanagan in it a long time.
And then the next longest is the other Bob.
Ferreira.
Yeah.
So Bob Ferreira is currently in the group still, 30 years. Yeah, so he, I think, briefly overlapped with Bob Flanagan, or maybe like that was like right around the time when they
right at the
transition.
transition. Yeah. They were not. Were they? Were the two Bobs in at the same time?
I mean, it looks like it on here because there's like an album that they would like overlap in. I think maybe that's how it happened. That was like the last album.
Between 17 and group 17 and group 18.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, so they've been going, all this time. with various changes and stuff. It's kind of interesting how they refer to the voice parts and stuff. Like we would normally say like tenor 1, tenor 2, baritone, bass, something like that. But they always say like first voice, second voice, third voice, fourth, or first, second, third, fourth.
This is
part.
interesting because on here it's not that. It's baritone vocals,
well,
first tenor,
in certain spots
tenor.
it is. When you look at the timeline thing, it says first voice, second voice, third voice, fourth voice. But then in the other part it says like vocals. But I've heard it a couple different ways. But I always thought that was kind of an interesting way to put it. But that is also right. Like the lead is always on top. That's also a different thing from barbershop, is that typically in barbershop harmony, it's the second voice.
Yeah,
like it's the second tenor that's the lead, and then the top voice is harmony above that. So this is again very much like big band writing. You have the like I'm going to equate it to saxophone, like solely writing. Like the lead alto has the melody, alto 2 has the next part. Tenor 1, tenor 2, and then a lot of times you'll have something called like you double the lead. So like the bari player just plays the same as the alto, just an octave below. So it's really like 4-part writing, and then you just stick that fifth voice down. So these guys are doing essentially saxophone solely writing all the time. So anyway, I just had them at my school, which is really cool. I happen to be friends with 2 of the 4 freshmen.
Which 2?
Ryan and Tommy. So the current group is Ryan Howe, Tommy Boynton. This is also top to bottom. So Ryan Howe on the top voice, on the lead voice, Tommy Boynton on the second voice, Jake Baldwin on third, and Bob Ferrer on the fourth part. And they have, so Bob, as we said, has been in the group for 30 years. Tommy's been in the group for 8 years. And Jake has been in it for 3 years, and Ryan's been in it for 2 years. And yeah, so I know Tommy and Ryan. Ryan I've known since college. We went to Mansfield University together for a couple of years. He's a couple of years younger than me. And then I left to go to school in Iowa, the jazz school I mentioned. And while I was at that school, we did different tours and different workshops and different things across the country. And one of the spots we went to a few times was around the Denver area. And one of the high schools we went to was Tommy's high school. And so I met Tommy then. And he told me he didn't come to one of our workshops because we did like a week-long workshop at one of the schools near him. And he said he did not come to one of those in the summer. But he remembers us when we did like touring and stuff at his school. And then when it was time for him to go to college, he ended up going to the same college that I went to in Iowa after I had left. And while there, he met Ryan, because then Ryan went there. And then so they went to school together there. They eventually taught there together, bounced around and stuff. So that's kind of how they know each other. That's how I know them as well. One of the things I found interesting, so basically what they did, they came in, they performed and talked with 2 of our choirs and 3 of our jazz bands. And so kids asked different questions, and they kind of just told some different things. And one of the things I found interesting is that when they do have an opening, they don't put out like a general all-call audition thing. It's a little bit more like word of mouth. So it's like, hey, I know this person who's good. We should bring them in and sort of audition them that way. Yeah. So that's kind of how Jake got involved, is that Tommy was in the group already and they needed somebody and who could play. That's another thing about the group, I should say, is that they all do play their own instruments. That's kind of like always been a thing. There's typically like a drummer, bass player, guitar player, and then some sort of horn player is typically how the group goes. So Jake was this great trumpet player, and Tommy's like, "Hey man, you can sing, right? So come on in." And then when there was another opening, similar thing, Tommy knew of Ryan, from going to school together, from teaching together, just being friends and stuff, and then brought him in, and it kind of worked. And one thing I thought was interesting that Bob said as well, which makes sense, but he was trying to impress upon this with the kids, is that like, yes, it's great like that these people can sing and play and like do the thing, but what really gets you the gig is like your personality. Yeah. Like, do we like you? Are you a good person? Are you a cool person? Yeah, it's the hang, because most of what you do is not performing.
Sit in a van
or do these kind of things or whatever, like just be whatever. So that was kind of cool. So anyway, that's a little bit of history, a little bit of other stuff. They're super cool guys. They're really great. Obviously, I've known Tommy and Ryan for a while, but Jake and Bob were really awesome and really friendly and personable with the kids, and the kids had a blast. And of course, the guys are just phenomenal musicians. So it was great to hear them, just live from our band room, which is cool. And they just played like a bunch of different stuff from over the years, including some new stuff, which I'm presenting today, a new piece that they have. So I texted Tommy yesterday, and I was like, hey, man, I want to feature your arrangement of Easy Living on the podcast. So can you tell me, like, was there specific inspiration for it, or like what made you arrange that particular tune? I mean, it's a standard. A lot of their tunes are jazz standards or from the Great American Songbook. I also asked him how the partnership with the Freshmen and the instrumentalists came about, because they're playing with this specific trio. And then if there was anything else he wanted to say. So Tommy says that he was really inspired by Billie Holiday and Clifford Brown's recordings of Easy Living. Like, those were his two main inspirations. He said he loves the chords and the lyrics of the tune in general, and the bridge is really amazing. Where they say about, like, for you, maybe I'm a fool, but it's fun. He kind of liked that lyric in particular. So folks should check out the recording of Billie Holiday doing this tune, because she's phenomenal. And then he sent me a very specific one from Decca. It's from the Decca singles 1945 to 1949. He said specifically this version, which has a great sax soli-ish moment the second time through with the bridge. So that was kind of a thing that really inspired him on this arrangement. Do you know this tune, Easy Living?
No.
Okay. Again, it's like a standard, like if you sort of live more in the jazz world or the pop, quote unquote, traditional popular song thing, like it pops up a lot. So with the Emmet Cohen is the piano player and sort of like band leader of the trio, and he's been doing these live streams on the internet and stuff for years from his place. I think it's just called like Live at Emmett's Place or whatever, and it's like literally just like his apartment, and they do these like live performances. And in fact, the Four Freshmen just recently did one at his place, and you can find it on YouTube and stuff and Facebook. And so anyway, Tommy said he was watching these during like the lockdown portion of quarantine and all that stuff, and he said there was a video of I never know how to say her name, Cyril Ame, I think. She was doing I've Never Been in Love Before, and he was like, oh yeah, these guys are good, and like I want to record with them, basically. Okay, he says they were a trio for like 10 years until Russell left the group sometime last year. So like they still do play together, but they're not specifically like this trio. Okay. Anyway, he says then a few weeks later, a video of Patrick Bartley doing After You've Gone came out, and he was like, he just was like getting more sold on this idea of like, I need to record with those guys. Like they're so good. And I want to like make this happen. So he said he got Emmett's number through a friend of a friend, texted him, got his email. He said he talked for a little bit, and then like he says we talked for like a day and then decided to do a record. So it's like they just hit it off right away, and it's like, cool, this trio, Four Freshmen, we're gonna make it happen, which is kind of cool. He said they did the trio session all together in Connecticut over 2 days, and he says it was totally effortless. He said a lot of work, obviously, but it's like super easy. He said this was take 2 of the trio, and then Jake's solo was live with them too, and great playing overall. I think we'll hear this when we hear it. It sounds like a live recording in a way.
Yeah, the beginning, they're talking.
Well, I just mean in general. The whole album, I should say. It sounds like it's obviously in a studio, but it has that live sound to it, sound quality and stuff too, which I think is cool. And he just says like great playing overall. We did vocals later so that there was no pressure during the Connecticut session to be perfect vocally, which that makes sense. Just make sure the vibe and the tempos are right. And then we recorded the vocals 2 months later in Minneapolis. We did the vocals for Easy Living first on the first day of the recording session, but then after getting our flow with the rest of the record, we decided to come back and do it again on the last day and really crushed it. The entire back half, including Bob's solo, was all one take and was the last thing we did with the recording process, which I was really proud of that. So that's all from Tommy about this recording. So let's talk for like 15 minutes about this song and this group. Yeah. But I had a lot of info.
You did.
I feel like that's lacking on some of our episodes sometimes.
100%.
Because when we first started, we used to have like lots of info and lots of things. And now this is helpful because I'm getting it straight from one of the people involved. But
I think we're
Anyway.
Anyways, we'll talk about why we're lacking in things.
Yeah, because we're old and busy and exhausted.
We have day jobs.
Yeah.
And we're both now going to go back to school.
Correct.
Anyways.
Like Rodney Dangerfield in that movie. Back to school. Anyway.
Here's
Easy Living. Nice little tasteful intro.
Living for you is easy living. It's easy to live.
By the way, they did this for us the other day, and I was like, oh man, Tommy, like that's so good. And when they did it the other day, it was just Tommy. So Tommy was playing guitar while they were singing. Ryan was playing bass. Jake is playing trumpet, obviously, when he's not singing. And Bob did not play drum set, even though he normally does. He had a music stand and his brushes, and that was all he was doing, which was great. Can you hear some of that rub of like the voices being right up against each other? Again, not a typical vocal style.
I would want to make this sound like I would want to make this sound older, like an older recording.
Oh, you do want to? Okay.
Yeah,
some grain on it.
It's really clean.
Yeah.
And I want that take off the highs and the lows and basically make it sound like it's on vinyl.
Sure.
Get some crackle.
Yeah.
Wave of your hand, darling, it's grand. They just don't understand.
I love that part. The just don't understand part.
It's easy living, it's easy to live. When you're in love, and I'm so in love.
Do they just do like standards?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they find some really obscure ones and have done over the years. I mean, like, that's one of the things that kind of came up too is like, how do you... So Ryan actually put it really well. Like, they consider themselves sort of like or he said he sort of considers them like a repertory group. Mm-hmm. Like, where you are doing the old stuff, but you're also doing the new stuff, but in that same style and feel.
What's the new stuff?
So this is new. This is a new arrangement.
Well, but it's an older song.
Yes,
right?
but that's what I mean. But they're doing new arrangements of still standards and other things. I mean, they may have some like more recent ones, but like,
I get it.
But it's not like they're probably not going to cover Kesha or something. You know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
challenge accepted.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I mean by that.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, Jake, by the way, great trumpet player. I started listening to some of his solo stuff too, which is really great.
Maybe I'm a
And this is Bob.
but it's fun. People say you rule me with one wave of your hand, darling, it's grand. They just don't understand.
And I liked that he put that just don't understand thing back in the four part like they did before. It's great.
Easy to live when you're in love, and I'm so in love. There's nothing in life but you. There's nothing in life but you.
Yeah. Man, they're so good. Makes me like, I get the itch then to want to do that.
Do it.
Like sing in a group like that and stuff.
Do it then.
I know.
What's stopping you? Besides day job, podcast, and now
so
school.
they mentioned that like occasionally they'll like have a guest singer like sing with them or whatever. Like Ryan got to sing with them one time, like years before he was in the group. And I was like, so I texted them after they left. I was like, I want to learn a couple charts so that way I can like, not that I definitely will, but like if the opportunity arises, and you're like, hey, you want to come sing? And I can go, yes, let's go easy living, like or whatever tune it is that like so that would be so fun. That'd be really cool. So fingers crossed, knock on whatever fake particle board wood this is. But yeah, they're just so good. And like I said, just super nice guys. A couple like other little like interesting facts. So one of the questions I think that I asked, or maybe one of the students asked, is like, how often like do people, so like when somebody leaves, let's say you're the third part and you leave, do they just always hire a third part, or how does that work? And they said it kind of depends on like what some of the other people can do. So Bob has just always sung the fourth part since he's been in the group. That's just, he's got a lower voice, you know what I mean? He just sung that part. But when Tommy started 8 years ago, he was the lead. He was the top voice. And then when Ryan joined 2 years ago, Tommy had to bump down to, he didn't have to, but he bumped down to the second part for a couple reasons. One, Ryan is more of a lead person. This is like Tommy's words, and he was also like, I just want to sing the harmony. Like I want to sing, like that's the cooler part to him is the other stuff. You know, the melody's great, but like he's a real harmony based guy. So he wanted that. But that's happened a few times with some different stuff. Another interesting thing about Tommy, when he joined the group again, like 8 years ago, his third ever gig was a live performance that was going on record. And I have that on vinyl. I got it when I saw them about 6 years ago or whatever, and I got it. And yeah, he was like, yeah, that was my third gig ever. I was like, holy shit, dude. That's so crazy. Like, your third thing is a live record. Like, that's really cool. So anyway, they're just really phenomenal. I would suggest people go back. They've got a ton of albums, ton of stuff out there. Like, go listen. You were ragging on me because I posted a picture the other day of having several copies of a particular Hi-Lo's album. I have like 4 copies of the 4 Freshmen and 5 Saxophones record. Freshman records, to me, there's a few different groups. The Hi-Lo's is kind of like that, but the Freshmen is one of those groups that like anytime I see one of their records and it's reasonably priced, I'll just get it. Just because I like them a lot. I also have a similar thing, the PM Singers, which is related to the school I went to. This guy, Phil Mattson, who started that school, he had a school back in the 80s and had this group called the PM Singers, and they did 2 albums, and one of them was Grammy nominated. But that's all they had is these 2 albums. But anytime I see any copy of it, I will buy it. So I have like 8 copies of both of those albums.
I did that with the Spawn #1 comic book.
Yeah.
I just buy like every copy. Okay. So I have like 20 copies of that.
You gonna sell any?
I mean, eventually.
Okay. Get them graded?
No. I'm not gonna do that.
I mean, you could.
Yeah. But they've just been sitting in a long box for about 20 years now.
There you go. Yeah. So that's 4 Freshmen. That's Easy Living. Check them out. They're great.
Yep. I don't have much.
That's okay.
That's great. Now this is where it just drops off.
The rest of the podcast will be 4 minutes.
No.
How long's your song?
4 minutes and 11 seconds.
4 minutes and 11 seconds.
No, but I have stuff to talk about, Lawrence. All right, so the band or the group, our soul pop is Lawrence.
I was going to say, you asked me before if you listened to them.
Yeah, and you said you knew.
And I said yes, but. There's a big old but there. Yeah. Have I heard them before? Yes. Have I actually like sat down and listened to them? No, not really.
Okay, what did you hear?
I don't even know.
Okay.
A bunch of stuff.
I know it probably wasn't
They come up on TikTok. They come up on Instagram. They come up as different things.
Yeah.
I like the sound. I like the vibe. I like whatever. For some reason, I just have not sat down and listened to them. Hearing this song, though, I'm like, yep, let me get into it.
Okay.
I don't know why. Again, there's been several groups like that you've brought in, or just in general in life that like, I'm like, yeah, I totally know that group. And then I hear, and every time I hear something, I like it. And for whatever reason, I just haven't engaged. So I want to engage.
So it's brother, sister.
Yep.
I don't want to say duo because like it's them.
They're the front,
but there's
persons, right?
There's 6 other members.
Yeah, but they're like the
band.
The main.
Yeah,
they're the singers and the
Gracie Lawrence and
songwriters.
Clyde Lawrence.
What? And their band is called Lawrence? That's such a crazy coincidence. That's amazing.
Yes. Their father is Mark Lawrence, a filmmaker, screenwriter, and director, best known for movies such as Miss Congeniality and Music and Lyrics.
Oh, so they're Nepo babies?
Yes.
Actually, you know what's funny? I think I actually just recently saw a thing about that.
So
that was like,
apparently,
just so you know, Lawrence is Nepo babies.
Yeah. So apparently, Clyde, he wrote a song for Miss Congeniality, and he was like 5. So like maybe it's like the Miss, like I don't know what song it is, but they like just posted about it like a couple days ago.
Is it the one Shatner sings?
I think so. I don't know.
It's the fake like Miss America, like the There She Is, Miss America, but it's like their version of that in that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's that written by a 5-year-old.
That's amazing.
And I'm like, oh my god! And their voices are so amazing. Deal put me onto this. He was like, got to check this out. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, this is really good. Now, there was I need to search for something.
Okay.
So this is going to be
This is the part of the podcast where Bo gets real quiet because he's Googling. And I'm going to check my phone.
It's not Googling. It's like me. I'm trying to find a specific. So the Don't Lose Sight is the most recent song.
Okay.
And there's a quote-unquote acoustic version,
okay,
which is just, I wouldn't call it, I mean, it's acoustic.
It's just like less electronic or something.
But I would just call it a live version.
Okay.
So
it's down.
Yeah, it's live in studio.
Okay.
You can find this on, will it play? This is gonna kill me. So they're like in. So he's at a grand piano playing, and then this is right next to her or him. And then she needs to like move over, and she's just like, oh, got it. Step over here. Can't. Oh, and then we're here. Now just wait. Listen. Right here. She blows right in the mic. Yeah. I paused it immediately and I'm like, oh my god. But it's so good. And then he changes from the grand to Don't Lose Sight. Yeah, to a Rhodes. And it's a great song. You ever like listen to something and then you think like, did I hear this before I heard it? Mm-hmm. But it's like maybe I'm thinking that because like I've just heard it a bunch.
Yeah.
But he composes as well, mm-hmm. And then she's an actress. She was in Noelle, like background character of Noelle.
Oh, okay.
It's like a
Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie, but I forget who's in it. Anyways, so they're both actors.
Okay.
Well, they work in the film industry.
Uh-huh.
So Bill Hader and Anna Kendrick.
There we go.
It was on Disney Plus.
My first thought was Vince Vaughn, but that's the different one.
Yes.
Jeff Christmas or something like that. I don't know. That's not what it's called.
And it's not like, oh, like we discovered this, like these persons are like they've made it.
Sure.
They're not like top 40 made it. Mm-hmm. But I think that's because like this isn't pop music. I mean, these are catchy songs, but I think it's
pop music in the broader sense, but it's soul, it's R&B, it's funk,
and it's sophisticated.
Yeah,
like it's really good.
Yeah,
like this song, I chose
for fans of Sammy Ray, Wolfpack,
yes,
Corey Wong,
yes,
Snarky Puppy in a way.
Yes,
you know
when I hear this, I'm like, oh, this is Corey Wong.
Yeah,
like this is stuff Corey Wong should they should just
like the Wolf guys in general, like too. Yeah. Like this is yeah. They were going in some interesting directions, the Wolf guys.
But this song's called the Heartburn song.
The Heartburn song.
And the video of it is like they're singing, kind of looking like blue. Well, he's kind of looking like Blues Brother-esque.
Okay, he's got the suit and the glasses.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the rest of the band is eating hot wings, and they're just like sitting next to them while they're eating whatever food with hot sauce. And then like it's just like
it's a play on words.
Yes,
because it's like about your heart burning.
Yeah. There's a lot of play on words in like all of their well, not all of them, but like a lot of them.
Yeah,
it's just like, that is really, really cool how you said that
and stuff.
Yeah, the wordplay is really, really cool. But the reason that I chose this of all of them is at the very beginning, it jumps around. I mean, well, I'll just play it and then we can stop it and talk about it. Right here. So it's chopped up. It's like panned all over the place. And I'm like, I know how to do that. Like I could do that.
Yeah.
Because all they're doing is they're just playing, like each instrument is playing the riff and then they chop up like, okay, now at this point, this person's going to play. Yeah. So like they set it up the way that they want it if it wasn't chopped up and then they chop it up and like, that's how you do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know how to do that.
Yeah.
You just need to get a bunch of different layers of different kind of sounds to get it to jump around.
It's Hocket like.
Hocket?
Do you know Hocket?
I don't know.
Hocket is where multiple instruments split the melody.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's like that in a way. It's the modern digital technology. It's the Pro Tools version of a Hocket in a way.
Yeah.
There's a really cool Hocket in, is it Braggin' and Brass by Duke Ellington?
I don't know.
Where the trombones play this melody. It goes beat up, but up, but up, but up, up, beat up, but up, but up, but up. Like that's the melody.
Yeah.
But it's split between all three parts. So it's like you do the B and I do the bop. It's really cool. But anyway.
Bass drums do that all the time.
It's true.
Because you can only play one note. Anyways, I'm going to restart it again.
Talkbox riff on there.
It's just so cool. And that's even like before like you get to their voices, which are amazing.
Yeah.
And his voice kind of reminds me of the guy who did You Got a Friend in Me.
Randy Newman?
Yeah, Randy Newman.
You can hear that.
Kind of, sort of.
Randy Newman with funkier.
I told you not to play with that fire.
The one thing I'm curious about with listening in these headphones, I'll let you know if it, because I listen to my car, which has good speakers and whatever, but every now and then there's like something like a little lacking. So I'm wondering if it's just on the recording or if it was just in my car.
Gotcha.
Yep. I need more low end. I want the bass to be punchier.
Yeah.
That's my only gripe with this song.
I agree.
Is the mix. I just want a little more bass in the mix. I want a little more low end.
It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright.
So Stevie Wonder vibes too. Obviously with like the clavinet and stuff, but
You tell me not to worry about you. You say that you
even here more bass would be.
Yeah.
But you're fighting back the tears and the smoke is in your ears. So make some there's a caution label. Yes, I read the sign. When I know, you feel the heat. Oh, I can see.
Oh, and also Huey Lewis.
Oh yeah, that certain era of Huey Lewis.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. Again, if he was funky.
Well, no, just the voice.
Oh, sure.
It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright.
Oh, I have one more.
One more gripe.
Slight. Not gripe. Just one more. I wish this was.
Yeah.
It's gonna be alright.
Do you like the electronic drums at this point?
I don't know if I paid attention to that before. It's all right. Barry sax and wah guitar or whatever duet, and then all these like little things happening all over.
Glass of water, but I heard that makes it harder on the bite. You know that all the pain you're feeling, that how
I do like the very prevalent Barry sax throughout.
because you move on. Come on, no fight.
It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright.
I wonder too, is that TalkBox or is it like digitally manipulated?
It's probably TalkBox.
It sounds like it. I like to, that was I mentioned earlier in the intro, they used it, that he does like a little riff over it. Oh, this part. I need somebody, this ending, like just keep vamping this. I need somebody like playing a solo or something over it.
You gotta leave something for the live.
I guess. Like they're kind of all doomed, but I need a.
Yeah. You need like something to like. This is the melody.
Yeah, not even just the melody, but just like somebody literally do like a sax player, trumpet player.
Yeah,
playing an improvised solo over this.
Does it fade out?
Because, cowards. No, this is a fade out tune because like in the live. You would. The sax player steps up. Somebody's playing a solo over this, and you're just kind of vamping and whatever. It's gonna be all right.
Yeah, probably do like there's gonna be a live
Corey
element
Wong on the one. Pop, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know why I haven't engaged with them sooner. I gotta dig in. They got a few albums out now. I think
a lot of singles.
Okay,
not really.
Is this like the album?
Probably, but like it's older. Like Don't Lose Sight is their.
This is from Living Room, right? 2018. Heartburn song. Yeah. So I have this album saved because I think I heard something from them and was like, "Yep, I'll come back to this," and then haven't.
Yeah, Living Room came out in 2018, and they have like two live albums. Well. Yeah, kind of two live albums,
okay,
and then Hotel TV.
Hotel TV came out last year,
but or
2 years ago. Sorry,
they have been like everything has a video, which is really really cool, and they're good, a great production as well. Yeah. But also because of what would you call them?
I don't know.
Neppy babies,
Nepo babies.
Yeah. So yeah, and in the like they
the best Nepo babies, by the way, are the ones you don't know. Oh, interesting. Their first album is just under Clyde Lawrence, 2013. Maybe their first. I don't know if it's their first.
Was it Homesick?
It's an older one. It's called Homesick.
Yeah, it's neat.
It just has his name on it.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Like I think a lot of like The Weather is really cool. Freckles is really cool. And it's not necessarily like just him. Sometimes it's like, oh, this is a Clyde song, and sometimes it's a Gracie song.
Yeah. That's typical with groups that are. Oh, they did the whole soundtrack for Noel as well.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, music by Clyde Lawrence and Cody Fitzgerald. Interesting.
Yep. So, if you like funk, if you like R&B, if you like soul,
yeah,
check out Lawrence.
Track 1 on the live album, part 1, Heartburn song, live in NYC.
Oh, we'll listen to it off.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
Go check out the Discord where we answer your questions, and there's also a Discord exclusive podcast, which is you guys suggest the songs and we react to them, live reactions with two double blind.
Double two tunes.
It's one tune that you suggest to us.
True.
Go to the Discord, find out. Join the conversation. Go down a rabbit hole with all your friends. All right, we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.